Welcome to layout update video number 3 for my first model train layout. Now, my original intent was to make these videos once a month to track the progress of the construction of my layout. But it's been 9 months since video layout number 2 was uploaded in March. So we are in the thick of winter now, and a lot of progress has been happening lately, and there's a lot to go over in this update to catch up on the construction and the progress in the past 9 months. So, where we left off after layout update number 2 was an issue with the turnouts. Struggling to source curved turnouts for my track plan, and what do you know? We have multiple curved turnouts on the layout now. So very happy to have found a source for those. These are Fast Tracks turnouts. If you're familiar with the Fast Tracks system, it's a turnout that you solder these, I'm going to forget the name of them, PCB ties, I think. These copper ties here, you solder them to the rails in a jig. You're looking at a number 4 right-hand turnout here for the Industries, and I really liked what I could find on offer in the curved turnouts there. To my knowledge, Walthers still doesn't have their curved turnouts available, although I've seen some conflicting sources there that say they've already sold out. So really not sure about that. Maybe that's just for dealers and suppliers. But I ended up getting my curved turnouts through a company called Superior Model Railroads, and went with all my turnouts from the Fast Track system, not just the curved, the 4s, the 5s, and the 6s that are elsewhere on the layout. And I gotta say, I'm very happy with them. The construction by Peter is good, and they look great on the layout, and they operate well. So happy to finally have the turnouts. Those are really holding up the progress. And with them in place, we move forward with the permanent track plan installation, which kind of takes me to my next point. Definitely had to revise the track plan for a couple of reasons. I was using a program called Xtrack CAD to mock up my track plan on the computer, and it certainly did not carry the turnouts that were available in Fast Tracks. I had to use a best guess with what was available from the old Shinohara curved turnouts. And when the turnouts came and I put them on the layout, I realized that they were not going to work. Caused outside radius to change a lot on the main line here, as well as some tight radiuses on the diverging routes. So I went back to the drawing board, or the keyboard, if you will. I had to make some pretty significant changes to the coal mine access and the lumber yard. Kind of hard to see here without the track down yet. We'll get to that in a later update, but the original track plan involved a 30 degree cross right here with a couple diverging points. Well, that didn't work out with the way we had to angle the branch line, and especially here where we had the 90 degree diamonds. My previous track plan didn't have these laid out exactly. It was my best guess. Turns out my best guess wasn't very good. I had to go back and actually set them up with true 90s, and even here they're a bit of a stretch, but the trains operate over them well. And that caused a lot of changes to the track plan. So significant changes on this side. There is another change to the track plan over here. I like passenger operations. I wanted a mid-sized passenger station on this layout, and I anticipated doing a 2-track station with a platform in the middle. Well, that didn't work out either. The reason being, there was no way I could get a radius curve in here that was adequate for these passenger cars, example right here, and still get the routes to connect. So decided to make a stub end station track here and eliminate that second curved turnout back there. So my intent is to still run a platform between these tracks, it won't be as continuous as I thought. I do like that you can stub in some passenger cars there, maybe an RPO or a sleeping car or a diner or something like that. Do some switching operations for passenger trains. So those are the changes to the track plan. Ended up being pretty significant. Definitely took me some time to rework. Over here, I also worked on the bench work a little bit. My original plan was to do L girder style over here, but before I finished that up, I realized I have this tabletop right here that was an old cantilevered shelf layout in my old residence, but the depth was exactly what I needed, so I put some 2x2 legs on it and decided to just reuse this. So right now it's kind of serving more of a workbench than a track area, but eventually this will be a part of the layout that the branch line accesses. Other updates in the last 9 months, I got a backdrop in the middle between the coal mine scene and the passenger station grain elevator scene. This I used same material for the fascia, the hardboard, and it's got some 1x4s to provide some support between those two pieces of hardboard, and the 1x4s actually extend through the foam and are then screwed into the 4x8 plywood right there. So that was enough. It doesn't go anywhere. I suppose if you really pushed on it, it probably would, but no one will be doing that. So haven't painted over the screws yet or the end. Those will disappear in time as we work on scenery some more. Electrical. It's been a big update to electrical. Last time I was just getting started with the bus wire. Now that's in, and we've got feeders galore with suitcase connectors. So a couple things I learned early on when I was researching electrical for the layout is the benefit of these suitcase connectors. Scotch lock, I think, is what you need to search for. You find them for the wire gauge you're using, and they're extremely helpful. I'm using 14 gauge for the bus and 18 gauge for the feeders. The other thing I learned was to separate your bus wire colors and your feeder colors so that you can easily identify. So I went with blue and red for the outside tracks, the outside rails, and black and yellow for the inside. And it's really helped me keep things organized and power the track. Example of the feeders on the surface. My soldering skills leave a lot to be desired, but it's a work in progress. Never really soldered before, and I know things don't have to be perfect, and those solders are going to look a lot better once the track is weathered. Also on electrical, I've added some LocoNet ports. 2 on the layout now, don't have to reach under and hit the bus to plug the controller in, and some throttle pockets. So I went for some universal throttle pockets from new rail models, and I guess universal is a bit of a stretch. The new Digitrax throttles definitely do not fit in these universal throttle pockets, and eventually there'll be fascia here when this wraps around the corner, but I needed a place to plug in and I needed a throttle pocket, so for now it's directly into the 2x4 frame, but eventually that'll be in the fascia. But the point I'm trying to say here is these universal throttle pockets do not stick out far enough from the surface you're attaching to get the new Digitrax controller in. This is the new DT602 throttle that came with my setup. So 4 plastic spacers later, the pocket's on there securely, and the throttle fits. So universal is kind of a stretch, but pretty easy to get it to work nevertheless. So I think really that's gonna probably cover all I want to talk about in this update. There are some minor things have also been happening, working on my plan for track weathering and switch control, turnout control, but we'll save that for another update as I get into a little more about what exactly I'm doing and can show more in the update video. So before I wrap it up, do you want to talk about the beer tonight? Sierra Nevada Celebration Fresh Hop IPA, leftover from the holidays. One of my seasonal favorites. Have to get it every year around the holidays just to see how the new year tastes. It's definitely one of my favorite IPAs for the wintertime. So we'll see everyone for next time in layout update video number 4.